Hey darlings, and welcome back to Everything Tumbler Tutorials with Cricut Vinyl Designs. Today I'm going to show you something super unique using printable vinyl. It's a whole sheet from Cricut. All I did was a friend of mine sent me a couple images and I picked one. This is the one that I went with, and it's the entire sheet of Cricut Vinyl. You can see I taped off the back, and I'll get to that as to why here in a few minutes. So I wanted to show you, this was one that was also a Cricut Vinyl. It has not been epoxied yet. This was the first one I did. My seam is a little off, but it's entirely okay. It was my very first one. So this is actually done with alcohol inks. I had laid it out flat, played with the inks, let it dry for several hours, and then I applied it to the tumbler. Then I trimmed off the top and the bottom. I also did this one, 30 skinny, also printable vinyl, except this time I messed up the back half because I allowed it by accident to lap over itself, and therefore, so when I cut the seam, I actually pulled the other side up, and so it started lifting on me, and then I just used Mod Podge to seal this in and keep it to stick. So I haven't sealed the entire thing yet, so I'm just going to kind of leave this one off just for a few minutes. So I want to demonstrate how we're going to do this full sheet, beautiful image onto this 20-ounce skinny, which is a Marshall-made Tumblers and more. I will have the link down below as I always do. So let's just jump right in and let me show you how we're going to do this. Now I already did clean this with alcohol, so I'm really trying to touch it as little as possible, but it gets a little bit tricky and hard to like not touch, but we'll be all right. So I'm basically just going to peel this back away from the backing. And ever so carefully, I don't want to lose the back. I don't want it to come all the way off if I can help it. So I'm basically just going to lay this on the cup. I have to get those wrinkles off, but I'm going to trim this real quick, and then I'll continue to maneuver. I just don't want to risk pulling this whole thing off of itself yet. Okay. So as long as you're really careful, you have a little bit of a play without tearing it. So basically, I just want to get it straight into the center to where I can push it. And smooth it out. Just take your time, guys. You do not have to rush. And just work it out from the center. Go so far and then push out. I am not worried about it not being even at the top and the bottom because we're going to trim it anyways. If you get wrinkles, pull it back and just work them out. You can actually hear, it sounds like little, you can hear the little bubbles popping. But if you don't get it, it's just going to keep sounding like that. So you want to pull it back and fix it. And because this cup tapers, you can see how it's not even here and it's going way down here. But again, that is okay because I'm deliberately going to trim the top and the bottom so that that's not really a concern. So now we want to get this side. Same exact thing. Okay, so it's not going to overlap because I have the paper still there and the tape, which is what I was hoping for. So I just want to make sure that I'm where I want to be before I cut this off. So I just want to make sure like it's going to be just a teeny tiny bit off. So we're going to kind of pull back and get it to roll a little bit more towards the bottom. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and let that be the gap because I can trim that up, not a big deal. Okay, so for now, I'm actually going to move this board real quick, just so it doesn't slide on me. And I'm going to go right here where the two overlap. So I'm basically just going to line this up. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut all the way through. Oh, not on that. Guys, be real careful. Take your time. I'm wondering if it went all the way through right here. Okay. I mean, it's almost not perfect, but you know what? It's perfect. So we're just going to peel this back side off and go straight down the center just like before. And working the wrinkles out as you go. Any air pockets, you want to get them out. Okay, so there is our seam. I'm going to slide everything over and I'm going to go ahead and use the Wicked Shimmer tool and trim off the top and the bottom at this point. Perfect. So there's our rim. So pretty. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I'm gonna bring this board back just so I have a little more stability. And we're gonna do the same thing to the bottom. All right, now. All right, just make sure it cut. I just maybe can't see it that well. There we go. And then there's the bottom. Look at how freaking cute that is. Now this I can trim up right here because it's just a little bit longer down here than anywhere else. Not a big deal. I have 2 of these Wicked Shimmers, so we can really adjust that with not a big deal. Just bringing this up 1 more should be able to cover that, so I can cut that right off. And then otherwise, this is an absolute perfect, cute little dainty tumbler. So that's pretty much how I wrap my tumblers in a whole sheet of printable vinyl. Just take your time, guys, and it can be done. Okay, we are back and we are set up and we are ready to go. I do want to point out as I was taping this off, as you can see, the wording is upside down, but since I was technically using the flowers as my focal point, I actually was completely oblivious to my words. But it's not like you can't really read them anyways, so we're gonna carry on. So I went ahead and taped off the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to get the epoxy on here, and I'm going to wait about an hour, and then I'll pull the tape. But I wanted to show you the opal dust. I've already got my epoxy mixed, but I wanted to show you this. I don't know how well you can see it, but I want to show you exactly just how little of an amount that we're actually going to use, because it does not take a lot of this stuff at all. And this right here is probably too much. So I don't think I even want to use that much, to be honest. It literally, guys, this will go so far. Like, it's literally just a smidge. And because it's a 20 ounce, I don't really see the need to overwhelm it. So we're just going to use just a teeny tiny bit. I did fix my other Wicked Shimmer, and I just sized it. I think this one has 2 and this one now has 4. So I was able to trim up that bottom and tighten it up just a little bit. And now that it's all looking great, I'm ready to rock and roll with the epoxy. I cannot tell you how much epoxy this is. I can tell you that I might have mixed too much. I don't have any of those measuring cups that I used to have, so I can't really tell you exactly how much epoxy is here, but I tend to mix too much anyways, and then I just go with it. And then if I don't use it all, I don't use it all. I can put it into molds. And since this was on a printable vinyl, I did not have to seal this before epoxying. So it literally saves so much time. Look at how shiny this is. Oh my gosh, guys, this is so beautiful. And as you know, printable vinyl, anyone who's worked with it is dull. It's very, very dull. And then once you put it under epoxy, oh my God, it's gorgeous. I might have actually done pretty good on the amount of epoxy that I chose to guesstimate, because I want a nice coat on here, but also, you know, not too thick. I just want to make sure I get right into those grooves where my tape is, because it's such a teeny tiny section. I want to make sure I get that rubbed in there really, really nicely. And I really hope you guys can see the shine on this. That opal dust mixative is just stunning. Really gives an elegant touch to this design. Very, very, very beautiful. And then I'll hit it with the heat torch just to kind of pop any bubbles. And like I said, I'll let that tape sit for a good hour, and then I will remove it. I'm just making sure I've got where the tape meets. And I'm just rubbing it down ever so gently. But at the same time, I feel like that is a thin coat, so I might go ahead and add some more. If the coats of epoxy are too thin when you first do it, you will get dimples or fish eyes that they call them. So you want to be careful with that. And just kind of be mindful. Thin coats are absolutely beautiful on cups. And it doesn't add that much weight. But if you go too thin, you will get the bubbles, or not the bubbles, but the fish eyes and all that kind of stuff. And then you have to give it a gentle sand down and then re-epoxy it, which isn't a big deal. So don't think your cup is ruined if that happens. All right, here we go. So let's hit this with the heat torch really quickly, just to kind of pop any bubbles. This is beautiful. I really hope you guys can see the shimmer and shine on this. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining me back with Everything Tumbler Tutorials with Creative Vinyl Designs, and I do hope that you can appreciate this entire sheet of printable vinyl, Cricut brands, on this 20-ounce Marshall-made tumbler. I'll have all the links down below, and I will make sure I get you a picture when this is done and ready for show and tell. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for joining.